Here's something worth thinking about.
Picture an angel. You probably just imagine something with white feathered wings, a robe, maybe a halo, possibly a harp. Soft, serene, slightly feminine. The kind of thing you'd put on a Christmas card. Almost none of that is in the Bible. Here's where it clicks. Let's start with the one everybody has heard of. The seraphim. Isaiah chapter 6. Isaiah is in the temple, and he sees the Lord seated on a throne. And above him were seraphim, each with 6 wings. With 2 wings they covered their faces, with 2 they covered their feet, and with 2 they were flying. 6 wings. And 4 of the 6 are not for flight. 4 of them are for covering. Now the word seraphim itself is worth sitting with. It comes from a Hebrew root meaning to burn. The burning ones. Everywhere else in the Old Testament, that same word is used for serpents. Fiery serpents. The ones in the wilderness in Numbers 21. So the closest thing to a description we have suggests something burning, and something serpentine, and something with 6 wings that spends most of its energy shielding itself. And when Isaiah sees it, his reaction is not comfort. He says, "Woe is me, for I am ruined." Then one of them takes a burning coal from the altar with tongs, and touches his mouth with it. That is the picture, not a greeting card. Now the second category, and this is where it gets genuinely strange. The cherubim. If you know the word at all, you probably picture a chubby winged baby. That image comes from Renaissance art. It has no connection to the Bible whatsoever. Ezekiel chapter 1. Ezekiel is by a river in Babylon, and he sees a storm cloud coming from the north, flashing with fire. And out of it come 4 living creatures. Each one has 4 faces. The face of a man, the face of a lion, the face of an ox, and the face of an eagle. Each one has 4 wings. 2 stretched out touching the creature beside it, and 2 covering its body. Their legs are straight, and their feet are like a calf's hoof, gleaming like burnished bronze. They move in every direction without turning. And they dart back and forth like flashes of lightning. And then there are the wheels. Beside each creature is a wheel, and each wheel looks like a wheel intersecting a wheel. Their rims are tall and awesome, and they are full of eyes all the way around. Full of eyes, all the way around. And when the creatures move, the wheels move with them, because, and this is the text's own explanation, the spirit of the living creatures was in the wheels. Ezekiel spends most of that chapter reaching for the word like burnished bronze, like a flash of lightning, like the appearance of a rainbow. He is describing something he does not have vocabulary for. And in chapter 10, he tells us plainly what they were. He says, "These were the living creatures I had seen by the river Chebar, and I realized that they were cherubim." So the cherubim are these. 4 faces, 4 wings, bronze hooves, wheels within wheels covered in eyes. Those are the figures that were carved over the Ark of the Covenant. 2 of them, facing each other, wings stretched over the mercy seat. And those are the figures placed at the east of Eden after the fall, with a flaming sword flashing back and forth, to guard the way to the tree of life. Guard. That is what they are for. Not comfort. Security. Then there is the third category, and this one is different again because this one looks like a man. Daniel chapter 10. Daniel is by the Tigris, and he looks up and sees a man dressed in linen, with a belt of fine gold around his waist. His body was like topaz, his face like lightning, his eyes like flaming torches, his arms and legs like the gleam of burnished bronze, and his voice like the sound of a multitude. And here is what happens to Daniel. He says, "I had no strength left, my face turned deathly pale, and I was helpless." And then he falls into a deep sleep with his face to the ground. The men who were with him did not even see it. But such terror overwhelmed them that they ran and hid. That is the reaction over and over, whenever one of these things shows up in a form a human can perceive. Which brings us to the line that appears more often in these encounters than almost any other. Do not be afraid. Gabriel says it to Zechariah in the temple, and Luke tells us Zechariah was gripped with fear. The angel says it to the shepherds, and Luke says they were terrified. At the tomb, Matthew says the guards shook and became like dead men. Now think about that phrase differently. We treat "do not be afraid" as a soft, reassuring greeting. It is not a greeting. It is damage control. You do not have to tell someone not to be afraid unless they already are. So what are these things actually for? The Bible is much clearer on function than on appearance. The word itself tells you most of it. In Hebrew, malach. In Greek, angelos. Both simply mean messenger. The name is a job description. It is not a species name. It is what they do. Hebrews chapter 1 says it directly. Are not all angels ministering spirits sent to serve those who will inherit salvation? Sent. Serving. Under orders. And Psalm 103 says they are mighty ones who do his bidding, who obey his word. That is the consistent picture. Enormous power, entirely under instruction. And there is a hint that this is not always simple. In Daniel 10, the messenger explains that he was delayed 21 days, resisted by something he calls the prince of the Persian kingdom, until Michael came to help him. The Bible does not explain that. It just says it and moves on. That's honest, and we should be honest about it too. There is a great deal here that is described and very little that is explained. Now, 3 things the Bible does not say, which almost everybody believes. It does not say people become angels when they die. That idea is nowhere in Scripture. Humans and angels are consistently different kinds of creature. It does not say every angel has wings. The seraphim and cherubim are described with them. But many of the messengers who appear to people are simply mistaken for men. That's the whole point of Hebrews 13, where it says some have entertained angels without knowing it. You cannot unknowingly host someone with a 6-foot wingspan. And it never once names an angel as female. Every named angel in Scripture is described in masculine terms. There's a 4th thing worth adding, and it comes with a warning attached. Scripture is unusually firm about not worshiping them. In Revelation 22, John is so overwhelmed that he falls at the feet of the angel showing him the vision. And the angel stops him and says, "Don't do that. I am a fellow servant with you. Worship God." Even the angel refuses it. And Paul, in Colossians, warns against people who delight in false humility and the worship of angels. So the Bible gives us these vast, strange, burning, many-eyed, terrifying creatures, and then repeatedly redirects our attention past them. So here's the pattern underneath all of it. We took something Scripture describes as overwhelming and made it decorative. And I think the reason is simple. The soft version is easier to live with. A being that guards a garden with a flaming sword, that covers its own face in God's presence, that has to talk a grown man off the floor before it can deliver a message, tells you something about the God it serves. If that is the messenger, what is the throne room like? That is the question the whole picture is designed to raise. And the moment you make it cute, the question disappears. If this changed a picture you'd carried since childhood, subscribe. New reflections every week. The Bible's angels are not there to comfort you. They're there to remind you whose room you just walked into. Think about it.